Well, howdy do, Buckaroos. How the heck are you? This is Tom the Beer Whisperer, and this is a whiskey video. I am joined by Jeff Lyons. Jeff and I, just about a year ago, maybe slightly over a year ago now, formed a group on Facebook called Drinking Whiskey. So if any of you happen to watch, join our group.
Yeah.
We're a very loose group. I mean, we allow folks to post other stuff. I mean, if someone's drinking a good quality rum or something else,
Mhm.
yeah, we allow stuff. We're not tight asses on that on that deal. So
Yeah, no, it is.
anyway, I've got a good bourbon I'm drinking here today, though. I've got Rocktown out of Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a 92 proof, 3-year old small batch bourbon, and I've got it two A's. I've got it neat, and I've got it on the rocks.
No.
And I'm also going crazy here. I also have the MILF Imperial Stout
No.
that's aged in rum, sherry, bourbon, brandy, and whiskey barrels. So Jeff, what are you drinking today?
Well, I just kind of grabbed this Canadian Club Reserve, aged 9 years. It's a whiskey. It's a blended whiskey. So, yeah, it's 90 proof. I don't know as much about whiskey as you do. I sort of drink it and enjoy it and have it in small quantities, but you always seem to be quite knowledgeable, can pick out things I just can't even imagine sometimes.
Well, you will. I mean, I've been drinking whiskey a long time, and to be honest, a lot of the palate refinement has just happened over the last few years as I've gotten deeper into craft beer. It's also helped with the whiskey
Yeah.
palate as well. So how are you drinking it today, though? Are you
Right
drinking
now,
it
it's
neat
straight
or
right
on the
up. It's
rocks?
straight up. I might go get some ice for it though. Right now, it's just straight up. I was thinking
Okay, that's Jeff. That's what's referred to as drinking neat.
Yep. Well, okay.
The difference between straight up and neat is straight up is actually when you chill it. When you run it through a shaker or if you stir it over some ice and then strain it into your glass. That's straight up, which means your whiskey's chilled, but you're not leaving any ice in it. And then on the rocks, obviously, it's putting ice in. But neat is when you just pour, your ounce or shot and a half or ounce bigger or a couple shots in a glass. So we both got some neat.
All right. Well, I'd have to walk across to the next room to get some ice though. But
You
that's
want
all
to
right.
put some ice in it, or
I might just
you
do
want to
that.
sample? You want to get some notes neat, and then put some ice in.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'll go grab an ice cube. I'll be back.
Okay, well, I'll just keep talking while you're doing that. And I'm going to read a little bit about this Rocktown while Jeff's getting some ice. At Rocktown, we believe that derives its flavor from the place from which it comes. And our place is Arkansas. We're proud to use Arkansas grown corn and wheat to make our bourbon and call Arkansas our home. It's one reason I really like Rocktown. A lot of small distilleries don't actually distill their stuff there. They have it distilled somewhere else and then bring it in and bottle it. This is everything they do. All their products are distilled there at Rocktown, and they do some great stuff. But I'm a fan of their aged whiskeys. But I mean their moonshine is awesome as well. So, hey Jeff, you want to give some notes about what you're drinking there?
Well, I'll read. I'll have my glasses on because this is like size 2 font. So let me put my glasses on. And I'll read what it says on the back of this label here. It says this is triple aged 9 years. The craftsmanship of Canadian Club Reserve begins with the selection and perfect balance of our most premium grains to achieve a fuller, firmer flavor. We blend spirits originating from each of these grains prior to aging to allow their flavors to marry. The blended spirit is then triple aged for 9 years in char-treated oak barrels to deliver a uniquely spicy taste, but with a soft smoothness. Its complex, full-bodied aroma combines with the rich notes of English toffee, mellow oak, and soft nutmeg for an experience that is truly reserved for the discerning palate.
Very nice.
It is. And we get a lot of, I don't know how much Canadian stuff you get in your area, but we get a lot of Canadian stuff around here, of course, being in New Hampshire.
We do get plenty of Canadian whiskey, but you're a lot closer to Canada than I am.
Yeah. And of course, I don't see a lot of any of the stuff from your area. I see a lot of Kentucky stuff around here, and that's about it. I see some Tennessee, but I don't really see a lot from the Ozarks. That area your area of the world. Just doesn't get up here so much. Get a lot of Irish stuff, of course.
Well,
And
I'm doing the Rocktown today, but Crown Valley Brewery Distillery out of St. Genevieve, Missouri. I think you've heard of their beers, right? Crown Valley beers.
yes, it sounds familiar. I've never seen it
Crown
around.
Valley does some distilling as well, but they just opened a satellite location in Branson, Missouri,
Oh,
where they're actually distilling some of their products right there in Branson. And that's only about 45 minutes from where I live. And my wife and I actually visited out there, I don't know, a couple weeks ago on a weekend. And boy, that's very nice out there. But it's nice when you have local places you can go and visit.
true, absolutely. And I, of course, it's dangerous for me now. I think I've said in some of my beer reviews that a new microbrew just opened 3 blocks from my house, and it's a little place called Oddball Brewing, and it's literally about a 2-minute walk from my house. So it's a little dangerous. So they're opening something new tonight themselves. I didn't get over there though.
So I'm going to give you just a few notes neat, and I'm going to put my neat glass on the side and start drinking my rocks because that sat a few minutes. But this is very nice. It's slightly sweet on the nose. You certainly get some vanilla and toffee. You certainly feel some of that charred white oak. And you also get there's something else there I'm not quite discerning yet, but I'll get to it here in a little bit. I'm going to take a drink and I'll give a little more notes on it.
Well, this one does have a kind of a spicy feel to it.
Yeah, well, Canadian whiskey uses rye, so you should get some nice spice notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And a lot of bourbons use rye as a secondary grain. This one does not. This one uses wheat.
Yeah, I'm not much of a. Don't do much with bourbon or sherry. I don't mind. I like whiskey and Scotch. I kind of prefer those. I know there's bourbon whiskey or whiskey. I know that the bourbons and whiskeys can sometimes go hand in hand.
I really love bourbons, especially small batch, especially craft distillery or boutique distillery whiskeys like these. I really enjoy a lot. They just seem they just have that handcrafted feel to them that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I mean, the flavors are just incredible. That wheat adds a certain softness to the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's slightly sweet. The corn will give off a little sweetness, so will the wheat. But you got that nice char from the oak. The vanilla comes at you right near the end. It's just very nice. I like it a lot. So I'm going to put that off to the side and start drinking on the rocks. Why don't you tell me about what you're drinking or what flavors you're getting?
Like I said, I'm picking up the spicy kind of character. It seems kind of smooth. It's not really biting in any way. It's just kind of easy to drink.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the ice kind of just helps sort of give it a little more something. It kind of expands it to some degree. Maybe just mellows it out even more. It's just
well, if you've watched some of my videos, you know that usually when I do a whiskey for the first time, I'll do it both neat on the rocks because you will get different flavors from both directions.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm not quite as into it as well versed in it as you are. I don't.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you didn't always have the information about craft beer that you have, right? I mean, it was a learning process all the way up, and it's the same. I think there's you don't necessarily have to be an expert to drink and enjoy whiskey, nor do you have to be an expert to drink and enjoy craft beer. And I think that's where a lot of people get put off with craft beer drinkers. A lot of us come off as pretentious to folks, and they don't even want to get near it. It's okay to be a beginner at whatever you're drinking.
Well, the thing is, I haven't had enough of it. Whiskey is something I really didn't start kind of getting into it to the last couple of years, and even then, it's sort of more of a nightcap. I don't really ever.
Mm-hmm.
I usually have had a beer or two, and then I might take down a glass of whiskey before I head off to bed or something like that. So I don't really go to whiskey bars. When I go to a bar or someplace like that, I tend to buy craft beer. Although on occasion I have picked up, one of the well-known ones like a Maker's Mark or something, glass of Maker's Mark or something like that in a bar.
Speaking of makers, I'm using a Maker's Mark glass there.
There you go. But other than that, I don't really. I've always favored beer. I've been a big fan of beer for as long as I can remember, since I started drinking any kind of alcohol, and I don't drink much wine. I really don't drink a lot of beer. Is kind of like what I drink, I guess. It's a big thing for me.
Well, I mean, there are so many varieties of craft beer. It's easy to
Yeah.
get immersed in craft beer.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, the Canadian stuff does have a bit of, I guess, a spicy character, and I guess I'm picking up a bit of this oak character on this. It's just kind of over powerful. It's not really overbearing kind of whiskey. It's actually kind of mellow, kind of easy to easy on the palate, not too pungent. But the malt character is this may be a single malt. This is a blended. This is a blended. So yeah,
Most Canadians are blended whiskeys. Yes.
yeah. So other than that,
This is a Kentucky, or this is, I'm sorry, this is an Arkansas straight bourbon that I'm drinking now. Arkansas straight bourbon whiskey that I'm drinking.
yeah,
And Rocktown is a relatively young distillery. They've only been around since 2010.
yeah. Well, Canadian Club and the Canadian Mist is one I've had a few times over the years. Canadian Club, that's what this glass is, a Canadian Club glass. It's really the only whiskey glass I have that has a whiskey logo on it. Or the only glass I have that has a whiskey logo on it. Though I got a Canadian Mist hat somewhere in my collection, but it's really, really old. It's from the 1970s, and it's really kind of fallen apart. My father years ago, he used to do this kind of work. He was kind of in a public relations type of job, and did a lot with advertising agencies. And he used to get a lot of free samples of things like that, hats and glassware and spoons and these little trinkets that these companies would give out. So this Canadian Mist hat that I've got was one of these things he got from an ad agency that was trying to get his business, I guess. I don't know what happened, but to how he got it. But I've had it for a long, long time. But now I can't wear it anymore because it's really all kind of worn out, and it's from probably 78 or 79 or something. Other than that, so that was interesting. That beer sounded interesting too that you were talking about. It's got about 4 different types of hard liquors that's barrel aged in.
Well, it's aged in 5 different barrels. Yes, it's also brewed with raisins. It's aged in rum, sherry, bourbon, brandy, and whiskey barrels.
So I wonder how they did that. I wonder if they just put some
brewed with cocoa nibs and raisins as well.
I wonder how they did that. I wonder if they put just bits of it in the whiskey barrel, bits in the rum, and bits in the bourbon, and kind of combined it all together, or if they.
Well, yeah, from what I've gathered, that's what they do. Yeah, they age some in the different barrels, blend it all at some point.
I didn't know if they might have spent a week here, then spent a week here, then spent a week there, and moved the whole batch over.
Yeah, from what I understand, they age in.
Yeah.
In the various spirits barrels, then at some point they just blend them together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 11%, 50 IBUs.
Yeah.
It ran $15 a 4-pack, which certainly isn't bad for a big beer like that.
I can't remember what I paid for this. It wasn't terribly bad. $20 or something, maybe. I don't quite remember. One day I want to buy myself like $100 bottle of whiskey, like a Johnny Walker or Scotch or something, like a Johnny Walker Blue, something that's $150 or something, just to see what it would be like.
It's about 200 in my neck of the woods, but I mean, there's the green, the platinum. There's various versions of the Johnny, which is a blended Scotch. So there are some single malts you can purchase of various strengths. I think Mac 18 runs about 85 a bottle. That might be one for you to look at, the Macallan 18. I personally prefer bourbons and Irish whiskeys. I think for the money I can get a good Irish. For instance, I can get 21-year-old Bushmill single malt Irish whiskey. It runs about 125 a bottle. But most Scotches at 21 years old are gonna run you upwards of over 200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this would be a one-time thing. It's not something I can easily spend a lot of money on. I just think it would be interesting to try one of those.
Yeah. Well,
ones.
I have a bottle of that Bushmills 21 that I purchased 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you how often I have some. I've still got half a bottle and I've had it for 3 years, but I have, I allow myself about a jigger pour, about an ounce and a half on various holidays, Christmas, New Year's, my birthday. And I said I've had that for about 3 years now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you don't take a bottle like that and start slamming it.
No, I know.
You have a shot, but I'll give you a little bit of advice. If you buy a bottle like that, I would recommend drinking it neat. You shouldn't take a whiskey like that if you're going to spend that much on a whiskey, especially the Johnny Blue. I wouldn't put on the rocks. I would drink it neat.
Right. No, and so yeah, this would be interesting. New Hampshire has pretty good liquor prices. We have state-run liquor stores, and as a matter of fact, one of the jokes that people say about the state of New Hampshire is that they got liquor stores right on the interstate. You drive off the interstate, the rest area, there's a liquor store there, a couple of spots.
That's nice.
We draw a lot of people up from Massachusetts, some from Vermont and Maine, because our prices are cheaper than theirs.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
So it's amazing. It's amazing sometimes you go in one of these liquor stores and you see all these people from out of state that are there, buying several bottles of something, because it's a little cheaper. So I don't know if it's because it's state run or maybe we have lower liquor taxes. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things that does draw a lot of people from out of state to our liquor stores, especially when they're right there on the interstate.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
You pull off the interstate with this they just opened a brand new one in the hooks at two of them, actually, the southbound and northbound lane. There's a liquor store, there's a diner, there's a convenience store, and there's a gas station right there, all in the same place. You pull right in there and get your liquor, then go to the diner and have yourself breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatever, and fill up with gas and on your way.
Very nice. Yeah, I've never been to that part of the country. No.
So, but we got liquor stores. See, a lot of states. I don't know what it's like in Missouri, but New Hampshire's all state-run liquor stores. So but we can buy beer and wine in your local grocery store, even convenience stores. And you can't, but you don't buy. They don't sell beer in our liquor stores. Those are mainly for grocery stores, convenience stores, beer shops, places like that. And you can't go into a grocery store to pick up a whiskey or scotch or anything. You can get wine, you can get beer, but you can't get anything harder than that in the grocery stores. So it's where some states have package stores and they have everything there in one place. I know that's what they do in Massachusetts, of course. You go down there and you get liquor in one aisle, the beer in the next aisle, and so on.
You can buy everything in grocery stores here, but we do have big liquor stores. You've heard me talk about it. I've got the Brown Derby International Wine Center, and I've got Macadoodles that have great big craft beer, liquor, and wine selections. I mean, you can buy anything in these stores, but some of our grocery stores do have comparable craft beer and liquor sections as well.
That's interesting because, again, the liquor, we get wine. You can buy wine in pretty much any place you can buy beer. You can also buy wine in New Hampshire. But you get the better wine at the liquor store because a lot of the grocery stores have pretty much the standard stuff. Some of them have better wine sections.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them have, they don't have really stuff that's a year or two old, is what you find in a grocery store. As opposed to the liquor store, you might find something that's been aged a lot longer,
Yeah. Yeah, that's about the same here. I mean, you're going to find the usual suspects as far as wine goes in our grocery stores. But again, the Brown Derby International Wine Center is probably the best place to look if you're looking for fine wine. But Macadoodles has a nice selection as well.
So, but I mean, I do kind of wish I had a bit more knowledge as you do. It's one of those things that I'm the co-administrator of Drinking Whiskey, but I don't. It's probably half the members know more about it than I do.
Well, I mean, that's what it's about. It's not about being an expert. It's about the enjoyment. We didn't start the group to hear from experts. We just wanted folks to enjoy it. And I mean, I just want folks to post some pictures. They can post videos of whatever they're drinking, or we can have a discussion about various things, about the whiskey. Yeah, I mean, we didn't start it to be pretentious. We didn't start it to, we're just as experts to chime in. It was just about the enjoyment of the whiskey.
Yeah, no, I know that's true. No, I agree with you there. And I don't post anywhere near as much as as you do, as you've reminded me from time to time. I haven't seen you post anything for a while, you'll say.
Haven't seen what?
I haven't, you'll say something to me like, hey, you haven't posted anything in a while,
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because sometimes it seems like I mean, I post fairly frequently, and I get a little frustrated when I see it's just me posting. So I try to encourage all the members of the group to post as much as they like. Hope, I mean, I like to see other folks start doing some whiskey videos, or just posting some more pictures, doing some reviews, or just some commentary on the whiskeys, even just having a nice whiskey discussion. But sometimes it feels like I'm the only one posting.
Yeah, well, I'm still not quite ready to do whiskey reviews. And even so, I mean, my whole thing is New England, and I haven't really done a lot of research, and I'm not sure. I know we've got some vodka places around, some Scotch. I think we've got some rum places around. I'm not sure about whiskey or Scotch in my area. I haven't really looked enough. There could well be, for all I know, there could be one like 10 miles down the road that I'm not aware of. I just haven't really done a lot of research in New England to find out if anyone actually, any kind of distilleries for whiskey or Scotch around here, or even bourbon for that matter. So, know some vodka places, know some rum places.
Well, yeah, you got to do videos from there. Let folks see what local distilleries you have, or spirits establishments.
In Vermont, there's a vodka place, Vermont Spirits, and it's actually run by someone who went to college, the same college I went to, except he graduated about 20 years later. So I remember last year we had my college likes to put on these alumni events where they invite people to go to different functions to get together with other fellow alumni, and one of them was at the Vermont Spirits, and because the graduate, is the chief, is the owner of the place, so we invite all these college people down there. We got to try some pretty good stuff. They tried some. They had a few shots of their own vodka versus some standard well-known ones like Stolichnaya or places like that.
Nice.
You try to figure out which one was the better one, and try to, I really didn't do that well, but I actually did like theirs better. When I said I like this one better, it usually was one of theirs. So, which I thought was pretty. They were pleased to see that or hear that. So, anyway. So, I mean, I'm
working on this MILF. You do feel the raisins, you do feel the cocoa nibs, but you do feel the essences of all of those various spirits barrels. It's funny, as every time I have this, and the longer it ages, it does evolve and take a lot of different forms. I remember when I first popped this, when it first came out a few months ago, I was really feeling more of the bourbon, and now I'm really feeling a whole lot of the sherry notes. The sherry and the brandy seem to really be coming through now. And that's the thing with a complex beer like this. It keeps changing shape the longer you hang on to it.
Where's that brewed out of? I think you said, but I forgot. Where's that brewed? Where is that brewed? Where's that from?
This is Mother's right here in Springfield, Missouri. This is local for me.
I actually think I've seen you talk about some beers from them before.
I drink a lot of beers from Mother's. Yes, yeah. I've done videos from their brewery as well. Yeah, I've done a lot of them at home, but yeah, I've done several videos from their brewery. They're doing some fine stuff.
I did like a couple of weeks ago. You had a few of these brewery sort of tours you did, which I thought were kind of neat, and I like doing those. I kind of like.
Yeah, by accident, I ran into a brewer from Bike Rack Brewing in Bentonville, Arkansas. I was somewhere else, and I happened to run into the brewer, and he told me to come by and he gave me a tour. So I stopped in, and he gave me a nice tour. He did a short with me, and we talked about the beer. That was great. They're a small brewery in Bentonville, Arkansas, but they're doing some mighty fine stuff in there. I tell you what, they are doing some great work. And then I also visited Fossil Cove, in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's funny, you think about the craft beers on each coast are doing some great stuff, but there's a lot of great breweries tucked away in the Midwest that are kind of getting overlooked. So I'm amazed at how many are popping up all through Northwest Arkansas and even Central Arkansas.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I do a lot on my channel is I like to go to breweries and do these sort of tours, grand opening events when I hear about them, where I get to try a few beers all at once, 3 or 4 of them, do quick samples and put together a little piece with footage taken from the grand opening or footage taken from inside the brewery, and I like doing that. That's the reporter. That's my reporter background coming out. Putting together a piece like that.
Yeah, I love what I do when I'm able to talk to folks and do something from a location. Yeah, I recently did a spot. There's a place that just opened up about a 10 to 15-minute walk from my house. It's called Show Me Brewing, and it's basically a home brew shop, but they also have a beer by the glass license, and they're also set up where you can actually come in and brew beer right there on the premises.
Oh, neat.
You come in, you pick out your recipe, or you bring in one of your own, and you can brew either a 5 or a 10-gallon batch. They have someone there to assist you, and they handle all the cleanup. Your beer ferments right there on site, and they will also help you with the bottling. So I'm thinking about doing a batch there at some point.
Yeah, there's a place like that near me. It's actually not as close as what you're talking about, but maybe a half hour from me. There's a place that they have all kinds of. They allow people to come in and brew their own beer, and they have a bunch of recipes. But I don't know if they let you bring your own recipe. They have all the setup there. It's really somewhat professional. They have a brew day. Then they give you step by step. Put this in now. Put this in next. Put this in next. And then they let it sit for a few weeks or whatever length of time. And you go back and there's a bottling day, and then you take home what you've bottled.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's a very neat concept, and what I like about this place as well too is you can go in and have a beer. They sell beer, so you can go in and have a beer while you're either working or looking around the shop, or you're brewing beer, whatever you happen to be doing. So I've done a couple videos from there already, and they've only been open a couple weeks. I've only posted one of them, so my first visit there, I've got one video posted. But it's a very nice shop, and great folks own it.
And the place I'm talking about in New Hampshire also has a kids section where they can brew root beer or something like that. So there's like a kids room. So if the parents are brewing the beer, the kids can brew root beer.
Now that's an interesting. They don't do that there, but that's a great concept. Yeah, to have root beer in there as well. So
yeah.
Well, Jeff, you got any final words you'd like to say about that whiskey, or any final words for our group?
It's mellow. I mean, it's a group. I encourage people to join. We're moving in on we're seeing more and more members. Sometimes you get these spurts. We'll have 3 or 4 new members, and then we won't see any new members for a few weeks. But we're always encouraging people to join Drinking Whiskey on our Facebook page, and even if you just pop in every now and then, say a couple of words, or even like someone else's picture. It's nice to have any kind of involvement from other Facebook members, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like to see more members, but I'm not as concerned with the number of members as I would just like to see folks be active. I want to see pictures, and I like to see some comments. I would like, even if we only had a handful of members, if that handful was active, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. It's fairly nice. I mean, I bought it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm slowly making my way through it. I said I don't drink that much. It's usually kind of my last drink of the night might be a glass of whiskey or Scotch. So, and usually after that, I'm pretty much done for the night drinking alcohol.
Now you're off tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, I'm glad to be joined by Jeff Lyons, the co-administrator and founder of Drinking Whiskey with myself, and we're drinking some whiskey tonight. So as soon as we get this one done, we'll post it straight up to the group so they can take a look at it. So thanks, Jeff, for joining me.
Thanks for calling me.
I'd like for us to do these videos, at least maybe once every couple of weeks, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to. I don't mind getting together and doing these. I don't do a lot of these Google Hangouts as much. I used to do more of them, but I do them. Usually, it's got to be something I'm usually kind of in the right mood to come in and do it. I know you do a lot of them, but I don't do them quite as often. But
I haven't been doing it. It kind of comes in spurts, So I went through a stretch there. I think I went for about 4 to 5 weeks and didn't do one at all, and then all of a sudden I did 4 or 5 right in a row. It just kind of happens. It just depends. I mean, a lot of folks schedule them at specific times, but my life is kind of crazy and my schedule is crazy. It's really hard for me to schedule them. I do my videos whenever I can. So, if I have a chance to do 3 or 4 on a weekend, I'll do them. but sometimes I'll go 4 or 5 weeks and I won't be able to do one. So,
Yeah.
hey, I want to thank Jeff for joining me here. It's nice to enjoy some whiskey. I really love this Rocktown bourbon. They're doing some great stuff. Mother's Milk is incredible. This time the Beer Whisperer, and we'll talk to you later.